I was gonna say the TED Ed video we watched, which I thought
That's
was
not
super
anime.
interesting. No, it's animated.
Anime. But you haven't. Do you want to weeb? You want to weeb for a minute?
I actually wanted to mention the video we watched, and then we can weave out about after that. I think.
Okay.
Okay.
What video did we
The
watch?
TED Ed video that was about the accessibility symbol.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're just gonna
Yeah,
go through our YouTube watching today.
I
Okay.
pretty much. But there was a really good little 5 minute. I like watching TED Ed videos because they're animated differently all the time. You learn a little thing that's interesting, and yeah, um, the crux of this is that the accessibility symbol that came into use, I guess, in the 1950s, was because the International Standards Organization was like, we need something to use, or it wasn't them specifically, but got made an ISO standard. I was like, this is what we use to denote accessibility, is the person sitting in a wheelchair, right? The circle underneath, and they have their arms kind of out, kind of idea. Um, that and they added a head to that a year later because it didn't start with a head. It just was like it was just a stick. And um, so what's interesting is that though that was always supposed to denote accessibility, it denoted access. It wasn't supposed to denote wheelchair access specifically. It's supposed to denote access for any reason that someone would require assistive access. I guess that if you're like that doesn't have to necessarily mean physical mobility. It could mean for emotional reasons. It could mean for mental reasons. It's supposed to refer to that, but because physical mobility issues and wheelchairs are very obvious physical things that people see, everyone just assumed, oh, that's a person in a wheelchair. Therefore, that's what it denotes is wheelchair access. And they do mention the fact that there's somebody who there are those instances of you go into a accessible bathroom, but because of the wheelchair on it, and you walk out of it, and people will be like, "Oh, what are you doing? You use the wheelchair stall when you're not supposed to." It's like that's not what it's for. It's not an accessible. It's not a wheelchair bathroom. It's an accessible bathroom is what it's supposed to be for. And the way they figure it, there's about 1 billion people worldwide who, by necessity, should qualify uh, to be included under that accessibility uh, um, designation. It's not the was it 60 million people they said worldwide that are in actual
I don't
wheelchairs,
remember.
something like that. It's a very small amount of whatever. And it's like, yeah, the idea of but I like that they captured the idea. I mean, it's unfortunate, but they captured the idea that it's like, yeah, people who don't understand that always get mad at the people who need that kind of access, and it's just like, wow, that's never been any of your business. Just leave it alone. It doesn't matter. Like, so it was really interesting to learn that it's like this was meant for access. And there's been some talk about even though they've done the redesign, so it's like somebody in a wheelchair but actually like leaning forward, moving themselves, and it's much more dynamic image. There's been talk about can we come up with a completely new symbol, and could we encourage people to use that instead as the accessibility symbol that doesn't actually just look like
Yeah, I
someone in a
think it
wheelchair.
still has the same problem.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for lower third, but the end. There wasn't anything more I was going to be talking about. So we can weave out.